Hi there guys and girls, I've got a full compilation on this in Adobe Flash. And yes, this is with my own character, and you can do this in pretty much any 2D art animation software, including these ones. Anyway, let's get into it. Yay! A new art video! Back in the Kazuha Part 10 video that I just released a few days ago, I did mention earlier on, this is not a promise, but I am thinking about doing some more art videos, but it's going to be with one of my own characters, right? So, a few days later, I just decided to put this together. So, since I've been getting a lot of views on some of my art videos, especially the ones that's been getting over 1,000 views, I was like thinking, yeah, let's actually carry it on. I'll be honest, last year I went around saying, I don't think I should carry this on, barely anyone's watching it, sort of thing. But because I've been getting, like, over 1,000 views on quite a few of my videos, I just thought, you know what, let's keep going with it. And yes, this drawing here, this goes towards Singing Tricks Part 3 that I've been making. So there's that. I don't know how many episodes this is gonna be, but I'm aiming for, like, between 10 episodes and 15 episodes, because I'm aiming to make each of these art videos be between 10 minutes and 20 minutes. I don't want to make it too long because people told me don't make them too long. I remember I made a very old video. It was about 5 or 6 years back, and basically someone asked me, which anime do you like most? Right? 5 years back, I did say it was Full Metal Alchemist, the Brotherhood version. And it's where I do like that a lot, but 5 years later down the line, which is now, I don't like it as much as a few other animes now, believe it or not. I will say that it is still one of the best ones out there. And it's only 64 episodes long, it's the Brotherhood version. I can't remember how many episodes the normal version has, but the Brotherhood version has 64 episodes, that's all I remember. And it's where I did talk to someone about Full Metal Alchemist, because they liked it as well. And they said, I'm actually glad that Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood doesn't have more than 64 episodes, because they just bombard it with filler episodes. Because the thing with Naruto Shippuden is that they put loads and loads of filler episodes in it. Some of the filler episodes in Naruto Shippuden is actually quite good. Right, so there's that. But yeah, I do think 64 episodes is just right, because the problem is that there was this anime someone recommended me to watch called Black Clover, and there's this white-haired boy in it called Aster, right? And so I only watched like 10 minutes of it, and when I checked how many episodes there are, I'm thinking, it's got over 100 episodes! I haven't checked recently, but about a year ago, it's like 200 episodes or something. I was like, I'm not gonna have time to watch every single one. There's gotta be a lot of filler episodes in there. Because that's the thing. I did watch some really short ones before. I really like this one. I've mentioned it back in Streets Rage 4 Let's Play. There's this one called Onagai Muscle, and it's where the full name of it in English is How Heavy Are Your Dumbbells? You know, the one that goes yeah, I'm trying to do an acapella, kind of like Smooth McGroove. I actually like Smooth McGroove. He actually is a very funny guy, we'll just say. I've not been on his channel for a little while though, but yeah. And in Onagai Muscle, it's where there's only 12 episodes, but it's absolutely hilarious. I'll be honest, there's some pretty weird parts in it, so it's definitely not for 5-year-olds to watch by far, but there's some really funny parts in it, especially Naruto, not Naruto, but Naruto, and it's where he goes around saying Saido Chesto, and he like blasts his own tracksuit off, and he has like black V-pants on, like Yurian, just black V-pants and a white V-pants. So it's like, you know, it's really funny. Even other characters are like commenting on him saying, why is he only in his underpants and things like that. And some other guy was like saying, hey, where are your clothes? You wouldn't just see a muscular guy with V-pants on just walks up to you and starts talking to you. Like, what? It's hilarious because of him. The most interesting thing about Onagai Muscle is that they actually teach you, the viewer, exercises in reality. For instance, right, it's where Naruto actually says, "Hey there, do you want me to teach you how to work out on your obliques, you know, the side of your abdomen? Here you go, this is how you actually use the free weights. You're not supposed to be all floppy about it, you're supposed to do it this way." And they even showed demonstrations and everything. So that's actually a life lesson from an anime. It's like, wow, they have to teach you how to exercise in reality. And at the end of each episode, in the English version, they say, "True strength comes from within." And in the Japanese version, they say, "Bulk up." I think the first one definitely sounds better. It sounds longer, and it sounds more cooler, we'll just say. But that's just my opinion, but you know. Yeah. And I love how in Onagai Muscle, they actually put Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. And that's supposed to be a parody of Arnold Schwarzenegger. And it's where I've actually watched a few Arnold Schwarzenegger-based movies before. There's this one that he took part in called Jingle All the Way. It's actually quite good. It's that one where he's trying to get an action figure for his son. And it's where he's trying to get a turbo figurine called Turbo Man, not to be confused with Turbo Man from Mega Man 7. This is a whole different character, so don't worry. There's no copyright that's actually been hit or anything, so don't worry. Besides that, it's quite easy to put two words together with Turbo Man on the end, isn't it? So, you know. I've seen a few other Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, but that's one that stands out the most because I've actually watched that one a couple of times. So, I was not expecting Arnold to actually be more of a comedian in that show than anything else, because he usually does like action hero based ones where he's like got blood on himself and he beats up bad guys and that sort of thing. So yeah, there's that. I love how they even reference that in Onagai Muscle. And it's where Arnold Schwarzenegger comes over to Naruto and he challenges him to a contest, and it's pretty funny. Onagai Muscle's a really funny show. I've heard that they are making a season 2, but it's not been released yet. So I'm like thinking, I hope it does come out actually, because it's actually a pretty funny show. I love how they actually teach you exercises in reality. So it's like, you know. There is another anime I checked out called Zombieland Saga. It's quite a good show, and I'm surprised there's 2 seasons, but I've only watched the first season even. It's where it went from like Resident Evil to like Pop Singer Girl. So I was thinking, wait, what? It's like, at first it's where the girl, Minamono, that's her surname anyway, is where her first name's Sakura, which is quite a common name, but I guess. But anyway, it's where basically she like dies, and then she comes back. And it's where she comes back as like a zombie girl, but she uses like makeup to look like a proper human being like she used to be. And it's where she actually makes friends with like 6 other characters. It's kind of hard to remember who was who because there was 7 singer girls. And it's where you barely get to find out much about half of them. But then again, there's 12 episodes in season 1, so that's probably why. So there's that. But the one thing I hated about season 1 was that in episodes 10, 11 and 12 sort of area is when Minamono was like all happy, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get my memories back. And then when she gets the memories back, she gets so emo, and she just doesn't want to talk to anyone, and she just doesn't act very nice towards the other characters, and the other characters have to like cheer her up, and she's just all emo for absolutely ages, like, oh, just hurry up and go back to normal. And it's like, you know, I think that what they should have done was make it be where her fans cheer her up loads, and that's how she actually goes back to normal and thinks, you know what, I'm actually going to move on from my past. Yes, sure, there was a lot of bad things that happened in my previous life, but this is what my life is now, and I actually have a second chance of actually, you know, have fun and stuff, so, you know. So, there's that. Even the manager, called Tatsumi, had to be the one who cheers her up, and it's like, I think he should have cheered her up much more than that, because he was the one who revived her in the first place, so he could at least comforted her much more than that. So, but you know. But I will say that both the English and Japanese voice acting is really well done, but Minamono sounds like a proper lady in the English version when she's supposed to be like 16 years old, whereas in the Japanese version she sounds much younger, so I think they're about the same. So both voices are good, it's just that the English one doesn't really fit her that well, given that she's supposed to be like 16, so you know. There is another character in Zombieland Saga called Saki. And believe it or not, I actually like Saki more than Sakura Minamono, but only because Saki's like much more lively than she is, because it's like Saki is like, she really likes chickens for some reason, but that does make her much more interesting. And it's where she's supposed to be like a biker girl, and she basically died in an incident in a race against someone else. And it's where, because she's undead, it's where she can do it as many times as she wants and not die. So in a way, being undead actually has advantages, because it's where obviously you can't die because you're already dead, sort of thing. So it's where the thing with Saki is that she was a little bit emo at the beginning, because she was like, I want to take over Saga Town, I want to be a gangster again, sort of thing. But it's where she kind of actually gets that wish in the end anyway, while being a singer girl. And then there's another character called Junko, and it's where, to be honest, she also acts emo at one point as well. And so I kid you not, right, she literally finds out that the music industry has changed in the past 20 years, and because of that, she gets so blooming angry and sad because of that, and she just stays locked up in this one room all day, all night for ages. But at least maybe where Junko gets over it after like one episode, whereas Minamono takes like 2 or 3 episodes to stop being emo. It's just like, what is with these characters being all emo just because they find out one thing? Oh, and before anyone says, oh well, you made N not smile very much in that singing Tricks animation, it's because of his past, and he actually eventually does start smiling again after a while anyway. Even before he starts smiling again, he actually is very caring towards quite a lot of people anyway, because it's where he's always gonna be caring towards Kyoka, which is another character I come up with, and he even cares for Yue at the end, to some extent anyway. And then he actually cares for Nagisa because he doesn't want her to jump into trouble and give herself up just to help N, sort of thing. And it's where N goes by the mindset of, it's not what makes me happy, it's what I have to do, I have to help people. That kind of reminds me of Sino back in Genshin Impact. I remember Sino saying a similar thing, but you know. Because I've noticed Sino doesn't actually smile much. Even when he plays his favourite card games, it's where he's not even smiling even then. He gets excited, but he doesn't actually smile. Not very much anyway. And Sino definitely does not act emo at all. He doesn't sit there stuck in a room all day and all night because he finds out one thing. He doesn't go around getting his own memory back and be like, oh no, I'm a emo now. He doesn't do any of that at all. So that's why I actually like Sino. He doesn't act emo and he's just like, you know. And yet to become such a nice guy, even though the very first encounter he like fights against you, but yeah, you know. I have been looking into other animes as well, and there's this one I watched for about 2 minutes, and it's called Lycoris Recoil, and it's where I watched 2 minutes of it and I already like it, right? And it's where there's this girl in it called Kizuto Nishikigi. I think that's how you pronounce it. Sometimes character names like Chisato is pronounced as Chisato, and sometimes they say it's as Chisato, so I'm gonna go with Chisato. Her surname's a little bit hard to pronounce. I'm very sure I said it wrong the first time, but I think it's Nishikigi. There's a lot of eyes in there, holy moly, there's like 4 eyes in there. Wow, that's the first time I've ever come across a name of someone, whether it's in an anime or in reality, etc., that has a lot of vowels in the same surname. Wow. But anyway, I'm getting a little bit off track here. It's where, in this show, it's where she's really happy-go-lucky. She was like with her best friend Takina, and it's where she was like doing a little game with her, and she like won. And she was like going, yes, 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 and dancing about in a circle and that sort of thing. Well, you know, like spin around and saying that. And yes, this was in the Japanese dub, and I was surprised the voice actress made her say yes in English. Shouldn't it be hi, 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 hi? But okay, sure, why not? But yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, Chisato's the blonde girl, whereas Takina is a black-haired girl, so just putting it out there, so yeah. The most surprising thing is that this show is like way more optimistic compared to Zombieland Saga, where you got emos in that one, and then you got happy-go-lucky girls in this one. It's like, holy moly, I think I'd rather watch Lycoris Recoil at some point. By the way, there are guns involved. It's where one of the most funniest things is that Chisato like dodges attacks from enemies just by walking, and the enemies just like miss her. It's like, how does that even work? Oh yeah, one new thing which I've not even mentioned on my channel yet is that I do have a Japanese voice actress for Aurea, and it's where I've got someone called Aicha to do her voice, and she's really good, by the way. What's really cool about Aicha is that she actually read my Japanese script I had for her, and it's where she actually noticed that there were 4 grammar errors in it. The script was about 150 words long, and it's where she noticed that there was 4 grammar errors. For instance, it's where there's supposed to be a word that says Ikeman-san, which is supposed to mean handsome man, because it's where you were supposed to say that to end, like they do in the English version. But the problem with that, the previous translator made it into a completely different word, which wasn't even supposed to mean handsome man in any way. So it's where I just said, oh, I can fix it for you, but you'll have to pay me a few dollars. So I thought, yeah, sure, why not? So I did get her to fix the 4 grammar errors that someone else did on Twitter. What's very strange is that the previous translator that I had is from Tokyo, yet the Tokyo girl doesn't even understand her own language. It's like, you think that if you are native to your own country, you'd be able to translate something from English to Japanese really easily, but it's like, no, what? Oh well. Basically, I like Aicha over the other girl by far. So basically, if I ever need another Japanese translation in the future, which there will be, definitely, I'm definitely going to Aicha, because she's actually very good at translating things, and she's very good at voice acting as well. So yeah. Oh, and one other cool thing about Aicha is that she did 2 jobs for me, and she did the translation of the getting rid of the 4 grammars and put the proper Japanese words in, and she also did the Japanese dub for Aurea. So yeah, and it's where she only charged me £21.15, whereas I used to have a different voice actress, and it's where she used to charge so much more than £21.15. So that's the thing with voice actors in general. Sometimes some of them charge a lot, and sometimes you come across ones that charge much less, but they're like just started being a freelancer on the internet, so there's that as well. So sometimes it's better to go for not so well known people, because sometimes you find like a diamond in the desert sort of thing. It's like, oh look, I found a diamond in the middle of the whole big vast desert sort of thing. So yeah, I think I'll round it off here because I've like talked for 17 minutes now. So yeah, I'll leave it here. So I'll see you next time. Hello and welcome to episode number 2 of my drawings art series. In this episode, I'm actually going to start colouring in my character in. Back in episode 1, I realised I've not actually coloured the character in any way, but you know. Now, you'll definitely see me getting a lot of hexadecimal codes. Trust me, you don't want to see me colour picking for like over 5 minutes long, so I decided to just shortcut that part and just put the hexadecimals in a notepad file, and decided to just grab it from there, because trying to do it the long way around, yeah, that's going to stretch the video out much longer than it needs to be, so you know. Oh, there was this original song I made with 2 other people called Midnight Fantasia. There's a boy version which I sing in it, and there's a girl version where someone called the Fairy Monster sings in, because there's a female version as well. And it's where, I'll be honest, the female version's way better, but the reason why is because the Fairy Monster does singing as her actual career, whereas I'm just doing it just off and on, so it's like just for fun sort of thing, so you know. One thing I did not even mention about the Midnight Fantasia song is that I was originally going to get someone else to sing the female version, right? There's this lady called Miss Moonified who does Aurea's voice, the English version, right? I did ask her, oh, do you do singing commissions by any chance? I've got this totally safe for work song, and it'd be great if I could pay you to like sing in this version. And she said, oh, I'm so sorry, but I'm not trained into singing. So I thought, oh, all right then. And then I asked someone else called Elisa, and she said the same thing and said, oh, I don't know how to sing either. And then there was a third girl called Dark Knight Princess who does Shamina's voice in the English version of my series. And she said she was kind of busy. Now, I did look into her activity and I was thinking, oh, right, oh, okay then. She's like going to other events and stuff. So that actually makes sense. And then there was a fourth girl called Shiren, and she does Kyoka's voice in the English version of my series. And it's she also said, oh, I do like singing, but it's pretty stressful. So I just thought, I've asked 4 different ladies and they all said no. And no, this isn't even anything dirty, so don't worry. It's just to take part in a safer work video anyway. And it's where, so I asked a 5th lady, which was the fairy monster, and she actually did it. So I thought, oh, phew. Just 4 other people, if they'll take part in my video, even if it was paid, and they still said no anyway. It's like, I'm not joking, this procedure took me like nearly a whole month. So I just thought, you know, and the boy version that I made, I'll be honest, I did not sing it very well. I was thinking about retaking it, because I was like shouting a bit too much in it, saying Midnight Fantasia in a very strange way, and it didn't sound very good. So I definitely need to sing it again some other time, but yeah. But basically, it's just like, wow, it took me like nearly a month just to find the right person to do it. Well, I would have loved it if one of the other 4 girls actually did the singing job instead, but, you know, it's like, there was just, you know, I don't hate any of them, don't worry. It's just, I'm still friends with all of them, just friends, by the way. It's just that, you know, it's just like, imagine trying to get someone to do a job for you. We'll say, fix your car. You ask 4 other people and they say, no, I'm too busy. Oh, no, I can't do it because of this. And then you've asked the 5th person to fix your car and say, yeah, we can do it. It's just like, you know. So it's a similar thing. It's just like, you know, it's like, wow. It took me ages just to find one person just to do the female version of the Midnight Fantasia song. So that's the big story behind that. I did mention this in the previous episode, and I talked about something called Full Metal Alchemist, right? And it's where there were 2 characters in it that looked very similar to each other, right? And they're both female characters. And one is called Rinri, and one of them's called Riza, right? And I kept getting them mixed up at first because they both got blonde hair, they both have similar hairstyles. And it's where one of them's like a lieutenant and one of them's a mechanic, right? And it's where, when I watched like the opening cutscene, it's where it showed both of them but not at the same time. And the confusing thing is that I thought they were both the same character at one point, and I think, wait, they're both the same, they're both different characters? I didn't even know that. I thought Rinryu and Rizo were both the same characters. Like, nope, they're both completely different entities. It's like, oh, okay then, that was a little bit hard to understand. But the thing is though, that the 2 brothers, Edward Elric and Alphonse Elric, you could tell both of them apart, especially since they're both different heights. And also, another thing that's different about them is that Alphonse is in a suit of armor. Well, he's basically a suit of armor that's empty on the inside. And he's basically a suit of armor for, like, most of the show. So that's why. Whereas Edward Elric actually has his human form for the entire show. So that actually makes sense. But the thing with the other 2 characters is that the faces and the hairstyles look so similar. And it's just like, oh wow, okay, I didn't realize they were both different characters. But there you go. In fact, it's the same thing between 2 different companies. For instance, there's a Bayonetta character called Luca Redgrave, and there's a guy in Final Fantasy 15 called Arden Izunia. And both these characters actually look identical, practically. And they both even got similar personalities. Someone else actually pointed that out. And I thought, you know what? I just realized that those two guys look very similar. Both the faces are similar, both the hairstyles are similar, and the outfits are very similar. So it's like, you know, they're not really much different, are they? And another example that someone else pointed out is Frog from Chrono Trigger looks very, very similar to Cyrus from Another Eden. And it's like, what? They're like practically the same. And they may as well just be the same character at that point. It's just like, you know. I mean, you're gonna come across lookalikes wherever you go anyway. It's like that in reality. I've come across about 4 or 5 people who actually look a little bit the same. So, you know, and I can tell that they're actually different because of their heights. So, you know. You know, it's just like... But when it comes to fictional media, you're no doubt going to come across 2 characters that look at least a little bit the same. Because, I mean, there's only, like, limited hairstyles, limited hair colours, limited outfits, that sort of thing. So there's always going to be a limitation of what outfits you can give characters and what features you'll give them and what personalities you can give them. So, you know, that. Oh, yes, there's a spin-off series I've been getting into, right? And it's called Luigi's Mansion. I really like those games because it's nowhere near as repetitive as the Mario games, and it's where in Luigi's Mansion games, I think a lot of people will know this already, but it doesn't make as much money as the Mario series, but it's where Luigi's Mansion has 3 games in the series. So there's Luigi's Mansion 1, Luigi's Mansion 2, also known as Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, and there's Luigi's Mansion 3. And it's where I really like those games. And it's where if I had to pick which one I like the most, I'd probably say the second one, because the enemies in the second game are the most funniest ones, and they like have like sunglasses on, and when you use your Hoover to suck it in, they're like go, "Ah, my sunglasses are gone!" sort of expression. And when you flash your torchlight at them, it doesn't do anything because of the sunglasses, and they just mess about loads, go, "Ah!" and stuff like that. I really hate getting sucked in by the Hoover. Also known as the Poltergust 3000, and then it gets upgraded to Poltergust 5000. Now, what most people don't actually know about the Luigi's Mansion series is that, believe it or not, there was supposed to be a bad ending in the first Luigi's Mansion game. And it's where there was supposed to be a bad ending where Mario gets taken away to another dimension, and it shows Luigi in thunder and lightning, and he looks really creepy looking. And I was like, oh no. What has Nintendo done there? I'm not surprised why they removed it from the final release. It was like, yeah, that definitely would have creeped a lot of people out, especially judging that Mario and Luigi series tends to be like for 3-year-olds and up. Oh, by the way, I did mention Luigi's Mansion in a whole different video, saying how the first Luigi's Mansion game is for 3-year-olds and up. And I've got a video clip of it here. And it's where, despite that, they actually put 1 swear word in it. I was thinking, what's okay? I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. That must have been done by accident. I don't know what happened there. So I was like, naughty Nintendo. Why are you saying plus 3-year-olds on a game which has swearing in it? If I ever let's play a Luigi's Mansion game, believe it or not, it will be the 3rd one. Because I have a very reliable way to record, because I have a sibling who actually has a very good capture card. So I can actually borrow it from them and actually record Luigi's Mansion 3. But it's only for Nintendo Switch games, and I think I can use that same capture card for GameCube games as well, because the Wii runs GameCube games, meaning that I can actually run GameCube games and actually do Let's Plays that way. But if I do record Luigi's Mansion 3, I'm definitely going to have to make it a 2-player one, because Luigi is very helpful when he's the second player, rather than you switch between Luigi and Luigi over and over again. And also, there's a big downside to doing it on 1 player, and it's that it makes exploration a lot slower, and sometimes the money just disappears too quickly, and you actually need money in Luigi's Mansion 3. So yeah, so there's that. One last thing I will say about Luigi's Mansion 2 and 3 is that I am very surprised there was no swearing at all in those ones, so at least Nintendo took that into account. They probably thought, oh no, we accidentally left in a swear word by accident back in Luigi's Mansion 1. Let's make sure that we don't actually put any swearing in the second and third games. One of the other things I noticed is that Luigi's Mansion 1 was made in 2001. Whereas Luigi's Mansion 2 was released in 2012 or 2013, it was one of those 2 years. And it's where the third game was released, I think it was 2017, 2018 odd. I'll put some text on screen just to show when it was actually released, but yeah. So the thing is though, that there was such a huge gap between the first and second games, and people were requesting for a second game for so long. And there's one big problem with the first game, it's really short. You can actually beat it in about 5 or 6 hours. And that's not including hard mode, mind you, so yeah. I think I'll leave it here. I know you're probably thinking, what, this video's not that long? It's like, yeah, but the part 1 of this was like 18 minutes long, so I'm gonna make this one be a little bit shorter this time around. So yeah, I think I'll leave it here, so thanks for watching. Hello and welcome to episode number 3 of my How to Draw Anime Last series. In this video I'm gonna draw up my character's lipstick in, and I'm gonna draw more of her arm in as well. So yeah, there'll be that. Now in the previous art tutorials, I don't think anyone's actually commented me this, and it's where, if you listen closely to my commentary, sometimes you can hear a slight buzz noise and sometimes you don't. It's very faint, so what I've decided to do for this episode is that I'm actually going to talk not too close to the microphone, because that way you can hear what I'm saying and there won't be very many buzz noises at all. Now I'm just hoping that when it comes to the editing process you won't be hearing it much. I have looked into something called auto-tuning, and you can do that for voice acting or you can do that with singing. There was a guy who made a tutorial who was doing this plugin called G-Snap. I gave it a try and I followed the instructions and it didn't even come up in Audacity, so I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. I did comment this, but he didn't even get back to me, so I don't know what's going on. And it's basically what G-Snap's supposed to do, it's supposed to make his voice sound better, but because I don't have it working, I don't know how I'm going to be able to ever get it to work without any responses or any help or anything. It's like, oh, here's a tutorial how you can get this to work and it makes your voice better. Doesn't work for me. I did read a bunch of comments on that video and they've been saying, oh, this is so helpful, this is so helpful. It's like, meanwhile me, and it's like, it doesn't work at all. So unfortunately, I have no way of getting auto-tuning to work, and yes, this is a free plugin, mind you, so good job I didn't actually pay for it. So if anyone knows how to get G-Snap to work, please do feel free to comment me in the comment section. Please don't make it something like spam on, please do not say, oh, go to this website, because the problem with third-party websites is that they tend to contain viruses and such, so please don't do that. Because once someone sent me a hyperlink and it was on a website called SilverHunterN, and when I clicked on it, it was a gaming website by the way, and when I clicked on it, it literally almost gave me a virus, so I told the person, don't be sending me viruses, and then she was like saying, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that was going to happen. It's like, so you're going to be advertising viruses to people then? So yeah, just watch out, because some people, for some reason, even people offline tend to do this. I don't know why that happens. But yeah, back on topic, if anyone does know how to get G-Snap to work, please do tell me, because until I get G-Snap to work, I can't actually auto-tune my voice at all. The reason why G-Snap's become so popular lately is because official singers actually use it. Even big name people actually use it, like Billie Eilish. I've not heard any of her songs, but I should actually listen to at least one of her songs at some point and actually listen and see the difference, sort of thing. Or tell the difference, not see the difference, because I'm going to be using my ears to be able to listen out for the difference. I've been told that deleting the plugin registry.cfg file might actually help, but that seems a bit risky because that means I have to go into the local C drive and delete it from there, and it might break the PC in some way or break Audacity in some way, so that's kind of a bit risky. I don't know why people have been saying, oh, delete this file, then your other file will work, because that sounds a bit weird, don't you think? And a bit suspicious, don't you think? Taking advice off a stranger saying, oh, delete this file. So, yeah, I don't know if I want to try doing that or not. Oh yeah, there's a video game series I've played in the past called Double Dragon, and it's made by Acclaim, the same studio video game company that came up with Super Smash TV, which I've also played before. And it's where the most surprising thing about Double Dragon is that it's like Final Fight, except it came before Final Fight, because Double Dragon came out in 1987 on the NES, whereas the first Final Fight game came out in 1989 on arcade. So it's like, you know, and it's where in Double Dragon, when you win against the bosses, they actually join your crew and you can actually play as them afterwards. And it's where I remember people going around saying, oh, Streets of Rage copied off Final Fight, and Final Fight copied off Streets of Rage 2. Oh well, this copied this, that copied that. And I'm like thinking, Double Dragon came out before both of these things did. I do know that there's another Double Dragon game called Triple Dragon, and it's because there's actually 3 of you, but that one's an arcade only one. And it's where I recently got into it, but through video game remixes, because there's a cool guy called Iceburner, and I've actually checked out a bunch of his videos before. They're actually really cool, right? And it's where he actually combined a song from Streets of Rage 2, you know, the Dreamer theme, that goes yeah, that song, right? And he also combined a song from Double Dragon, and it's the song called Italy. It's literally called Italy, the song, right? And he combined those 2 songs together, and actually mixed really well together. So it's like half and half. He did it with updated instruments as well, so it's like more modernized. So it's like, oh wow, he actually did a really good bang-up job of it. It's actually quite good. And it's where Iceburner also did another fusion song, and it's a song from Shinobi, and it's a song from Double Dragon. So he fused like 2 China songs and put them together, and he actually made like a calm version of it. So it was actually quite good. It's like, oh wow, he's actually quite good at combining songs together, and it's usually retro songs as well. He did another one which was, he did a Goemon song, you know, Mystical Ninja song, and combined that with Revenge of Shinobi song as well. It's actually quite well done. Well, it's like in the form of Genesis or Mega Drive instruments anyway, so that's where it comes in. So it's like, oh wow. I have actually looked into if there's any Double Dragon games on Steam, and there is one, and it's called Double Dragon Gaiden, Rise of the Dragons, and for some reason the developer is not Acclaimed this time around. It's made by a company called Secret Base. I've never heard of them before. And it was released earlier on this year, so it was released on 27th of July 2023. So I thought, wow, that's not that long ago. I don't know if it's any good or not because I've not checked out much of it, but it's actually quite surprising that they've actually brought back a very old intellectual property, also known as an IP. I thought, holy moly, they actually brought it back. Is Mystical Ninjas is gonna come back? I know that Mystical Ninjas, the very last one that Konami made, is on the DS. I know that there's one that's called Pachinko Mystical Ninjas, but that one's only in Japan anyway, so it's like, you know, I hope Golden Axe makes a come back as well, because that definitely needs to come back. And it's where I hope Cool Swap comes back as well, because that needs to come back as well. The problem with retro games is that a lot of them do not actually make a return at all, or it takes so long for them to come back. So that's the thing, because I'm pretty sure there's a video game series out there that actually clearly deserves to have a comeback of some sort, because there's just so many that deserves to have a comeback. I do know a few other things about Double Dragon, the new game, and it's where I found out that there's actually going to be a free update in the game, but it's not for like a little while. And it's where the second thing is, it's roughly £19 on Steam, so it's not that expensive again, but yeah, there you go. And I also know that it's a 4-player game, so it's like between 1 to 4 players, so it's like Streets of Rage 4. And they had to put English voice acting in this game, so it's like, holy moly, really? Oh wow, that's actually quite good how they've actually hired voice actors for this as well. I remember back in the retro Double Dragon games that you play as someone called Billy. It's called Billy Lee, and he has a brother called Jimmy Lee, and it's where, hence the name Double Dragon, and it's where they fight together. And one of the things I noticed is that in the Double Dragon games, you literally get an attack very similar to Shoryuken, but it's like, I'm not trying to say it's okay to copy or anything, but it's like, after seeing like hundreds of characters out there steal that move, it's like, yeah, you know, it's just like, you know, it's just like, can you please stop stealing Shoryuken, especially with fire on your fist. It's kind of getting a bit overused how everyone's just like nicking it practically. But in the new Double Dragon game, it's where there's some new characters you get to play as, and I don't think I remember them, because there's this one girl you play as called Miriam, who specializes in weapons, and there's another guy that you play as called Martin, I think that's how you pronounce his name, but it's like Martin without the R in it, so I'm pretty sure you pronounce it as Martin, I'm not sure. I've not fully played the game or anything like that, I've not even bought it yet, so you know, it's kind of hard to understand a game that you've not actually played. I have checked a few reviews on the new Double Dragon game, and it's where basically it's like very positive. That's what a lot of them have been saying. I did read one very long review, and it's where they were like saying, oh, the Double Dragon franchise was actually really good back on SNES and NES, but at one point it's where there was quite a few Double Dragon games that were released. It's like Double Dragon 3, Double Dragon 4, that sort of thing. Apparently the third and fourth games did not feel like Double Dragon games at all, so in other words, they changed the formula too much, and it's like, you know, and so they're like, oh, Double Dragon Rise of the Dragons is a very good way to bring the series back to life, sort of thing. So, because I've not played Double Dragon 3 and 4, I don't really have a say in whether or not I agree with them or not, but, you know. I hope in this game you can actually block, because when I was Let's Playing Streets Rage 4 not that long ago, I realised I don't think you can actually block in Streets Rage 4 at all. So the only way to avoid damage is by dodging. I'll use a defensive special, so I hope in Double Dragon, the new game, you can actually block, because it's really annoying not being able to block. Anyway, I think that'll actually do for now, so I'll see you all next time. Hello and welcome to episode number 4 of my How to Draw Anime Last series. Now, I've noticed that the way I've drawn my character's arm does look a little bit strange. It looks like her forearm is a little bit too short, so I'm actually going to change it. The problem with colouring any objects in is if you want to change the stroke lines, you have to get rid of the colour first, because that's really going to get in the way. So, like you can see here, I have to delete the colour off, then move the stroke lines, then recolour it in afterwards. I know. So it's like, you have to make sure that you're A-okay with the stroke lines before colouring in, because it takes longer to fix something after you coloured it in. So, you know, so you have to mind out for that. I think that's the case with other art programs as well. Now, I do have a story to tell you, but it's partially a rant, and it's where it has to do with a company called Your Sushi. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't ultra hate them or anything, but I feel like they're a little bit dingy-fied lately, right? And it's where back in the year 2020, they sent me an email saying, oh, if you come here, we can give you 50% off on your next order at Your Sushi. So I thought, oh, cool, let's go. Because I love the food at Your Sushi. I love the yasai rolls and I love the kobatsu katsu. You know, the pumpkin katsu. It's called kobatsu katsus as another name. And it's where when I went to them back in year 2020, they were closed. And on top of that, there was like builders in there that were like building objects, you know, like the furniture and everything. So I thought, that's strange. Didn't they tell me to come here? And it's like, it's closed. So I thought, oh, well. And so I went somewhere else and then did whatever I needed to. And then I went back home. And then guess what happened the next day? I got an email saying, oh, we're open now. It's like, yeah, go tell me that you're open after coming to you and it's a locked door with builders going inside of it and everything. It's like, yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Right? But that was back in the year 2020. And then in year 2022, now this version, a little bit of this is my fault for this time. And it's where it was like Easter Sunday. And it's where I went to them and they were actually closed. So that was kind of my fault. We were not checking online if they were actually open or not. But they didn't send me an email saying, oh, we're not actually open today. They should have at least told me that by email, because I get emails from these sort of companies. And then fast forward to 2023, right? And it's where I got an email again from the same company saying, oh, we're giving you £5 off on your next order. And I think you're going to be able to tell what's going to happen next, right? I watched for 20 minutes like I did the first two times. And I went to them and guess what? They were closed again. And there was a builder outside and I asked him, oh, how long is this place going to be closed for? And he said, oh, it's going to be closed for 2 weeks. So I thought, okay, now that's not his fault, so don't worry, I'm not angry at him. But it's the fact that the company keeps telling me, oh, come here and get a discount over and over again. And when I go to them, they're not even open. It's just like, it's like, come on. Now, I was walking around town to go get other stuff because I like going to shops like Tulliver's. Tulliver's is actually good. They've got some amazing shampoos. That's actually fully natural. So I was around town to go buy that recently. So that's why. So I only like partially wasted my walking trip to Your Sushi. But I think you kind of get the point. So I just thought, now this has been happening across 3 years, but they were open between it all. So I did go to them from time to time and then eat out there and such. And it's like, you know, after through coming to them 3 times and it's a locked door, I don't think I should really be trusting them very much with their emails to you. So I'm not going to go to them for 3 months. I can't be bothered. And here's another thing, right? At places like Tesco's and Morrison's, you can actually buy kobatsu katsu dishes and it's like £4.50. They're not as nice as the ones at Your Sushi, but I think I'd rather have those ones instead because they're right there. You can pick it up, buy it, go home, heat it up, or even take it anywhere else with a microwave and just make it there and just eat it like that. So, you know. Now, you're probably thinking, well, why did you trust them for so long if they keep closing up on you so many times? It's because there's been like a couple of times where they sent me a birthday email saying, oh, if you come to us, you can have 1/3 of your price off. And they actually were truthful and actually gave me it, and they were actually open those 2 times. So 2 out of 5 times they were actually open and gave me the discount. So, you know, so that's why. So I don't completely hate them. I might go back to them, but as of this recording, I don't think I should go to them and just walk for 20 minutes, come across a locked door, have to ask when the next open and that sort of thing. And they just spread misinformation. That's the problem with Your Sushi. So sometimes I go to a place called Wagamama, but the Wagamama's food is not as nice by a little bit, and some of their prices are a little bit too high. Because once I ate at Wagamama, and it's where the full meal costs like £12, and that's a bit too high for a full meal. It's like in other places you can actually get a full meal for like £8 or £9, so I can understand that, but £12 is a little bit too pricey, so that's why I don't go to Wagamama that often. Whereas at your sushi, at least you only have to pay like £7-8 and get like a decent meal. Oh, and that's another thing, right? At your sushi, when you buy something called miso soup, they actually give you free refills. Well, it's not free, but you know, they give you like a second cup if you really want it, and they don't charge you extra for it. So, you know, so that's one of the reasons why I still like your sushi to some extent. So I just think that, at an honest point of view, I'd only give them 3 stars out of 5. So at least they're not too expensive, and at least they gave me 2 discounts, truthfully, and they actually did it and everything. So there is that as well. So yeah, you know, so basically, bottom line, your sushi has just gone from a good company to just alright. So yeah. Oh yeah, there's this American cartoon series me and a bunch of people used to watch called SilverHunterN. It's quite a good series actually. I remember it was aired on the year 2002. So it's like over 20 years ago's news, but it's where my favourite episode by far is the nicotine one. And I remember the gang who had like a bunch of smoking related things, right? And it's where the leader is called Nicotine, and he has a voice, right? It's quite a funny one, and he says, "I'm unbiteable." It's really funny. That was an amazing episode. It really looked like there was going to be a part 2, but the way Nicotine loses is just so dumb though, right? Basically, he tried to take over Hector's brain, and he enters the brain by infecting this one kid who's basically the governor, right? And it's where when he brainwashes him, the little kid who's the governor, he actually grants Nicotine entry into the brain, and then is where Nicotine is like goes over to this device that has Hector's favorites. It just turns the guitar into a cigarette, and I'm like thinking, why don't you just change all of them into a cigarette? But the way he loses, well, Nicotine loses, is by Hector just refusing to take a second cigarette. Nicotine, like, loses the marbles and starts going, "No, take it," and it just shrinks. And then Ozzy's just like there, like going, "You can just put my foot down," and it just dies. It's like, they made him way too weak on the last minute. It's like, I feel like the story writing got a bit pants there. It's like, what I think they should have done was made it be where Hector takes that second cigarette, and then there's a part 2, and he has to get some serious help to try and get him off cigarettes, and that's how they actually do it. But it's just like, there were other bad guys that were with Nicotine, but I can't remember what they're called, but they were pretty interesting, those ones as well. They were trying to stop Ozzy and Drix and the little dog, Dander, I think that's his name. They were trying to stop all 3 of them from trying to save Hector from being overtaken by them. The second best episode is the bacteria one, where the general is like saying, "If we want to survive, we must have a sugar." And yes, they talk like that in the French way. That's the second best episode by far. And it's where the way they all die, the army dies, is by taking salt by accident instead of sugar. And it's just like, I'm pretty sure in reality bacteria is not weak against salt, but okay. And it's just so funny. And they're basically trying to teach the audience, don't eat sugar all the time. Sort of thing. It's like, you know. And it's where the most surprising thing is that Hector has a friend. I can't remember what his name is, right? And Hector's friend is the one that keeps getting him into trouble by making him smoke, make him eat sugar, and lots of really bad things that's very harmful to his body. And then it's where someone else has to go and fix Hector in the end. It's just like, what? Okay. And there's a third favourite episode of mine from SilverHunterN, and it's the one with, it's actually the first episode, and it has to do with a bad guy called Scarlet Fever, right? And it's where Scarlet Fever really likes water, right? And he acts very suspicious. Well, not suspicious, but like, he acts really creepy, we'll just say, right? He like looks around, right? And there's like evil music in the background, and Scarlet's like, and yes, he's a man, by the way, well, a German man, and it's where he goes over to his water and says, "Ow, yes! Ow, yes!" He sucks all the water in, and he like gets stronger out of it, and like transforms, and he says at the end, "Oh, Hector, you're like nectar to me." And me and a bunch of people offline were like thinking, okay, that does sound a bit weird. The most surprising thing about Scarlet's Fever is that he literally dies at the end, but he dies a bit too violently for a show that's supposed to be for like teenagers and up, because it's like, he like gets in this helicopter and he gets sucked into this spinning fan and like cuts the helicopter into pieces and he dies in it. And I'm thinking, okay, that's totally something Resident Evil like, because there's a game called Resident Evil 6 and there's one death you can get where there's this zombie thing that like pushes one of the heroes into a spinning fan and cuts them into pieces that way. So I'm like thinking, holy moly. Even though Resident Evil 6 came out way after Ozzy and Drix did. Like, wow. It's just like, spinning fans are very, very dangerous, you know? You know, it's just like, wow. It's like, I swear some story writers really don't care about making bad guys die in the most glorious ways possible in something that's like for like teenagers and up, but you know, it's like, wow. Oh, there's this really popular anime out there called Oshinoko. I've not watched the whole thing, and there's this one song called Idol, as in pop singer, right? And there's so many fan covers of that one song, it's not even funny, right? There's obviously the Japanese version, which is the official version, and then you got the fan cover versions of that, and then you got English fan covers of it, and then you got French versions of it, and then you got German versions of it, and yes, there's even a Spanish version and an Italian version of it. It's like, why does everyone love this song so much? Well, not everyone, but it's, you know. And there is an instrumental version of it, and there's like a retro version of it that's in like 8-bit NES style as well, and there's even violin version and flute version and everything. It's like, wow, I didn't know so many people like that one song by Yaosobi so much. I mean, I like it, but only certain versions of it. I like the instrumental versions the most, because it's like, you know, just my personal taste. I did look into the actual anime itself, and I was so surprised that, now spoiler alert, right, I was so surprised that the singer girl, Ai Hoshino, I was surprised she actually dies at the end of like episode 1 or 2. I was like, wow, did they really just kill off the main character like straight away? I have the feeling Ai Hoshino's actually going to come back, because there's already reincarnation put into the show already. Anyway, I think that'll actually do for now. So that's it for episode number 4. So yeah, I think I'll end it off here. Hello and welcome to episode number 5 of my How to Draw Anime Last series. Once I was with an offline friend, and he actually asked me, oh, what kind of radio music are you into? Right, so it's where I mainly said 1980s music and 1990s music. The nowadays music is just alright, but, you know. And he said, oh, what kind of people are you actually into, you know, like celebrities? One of them I said was Michael Jackson, and it's where he was saying, oh, everyone likes MJ, well, nearly everyone anyway. And it's just like, anyone else? I was like saying, well, I like Kylie Minogue and Belinda Carlisle. I was like, oh, yeah. And it's like, you know, I have actually recently been listening to Kylie Minogue music, and I was listening to some of her more retro sounding songs, right? So it's like from the 1980s, and there's one called I Should Be So Lucky, and it's where that song actually sounds like a quiz show. It's really funny. And so that's actually quite a good song. I was surprised that that's a 1980s song, and it's actually quite a slow tempo song, because the nowadays songs, they talk a little bit too quick in their songs, whereas in 1980s, 1990s music, they talk much slower. Well, sing much slower anyway. So yeah. Another song I like from Kylie Minogue is On a night like this, we gotta be together. Yeah, I like that song quite a lot. And I like the Please Stay song as well. That's some of her best ones anyway. She's got a lot of good songs anyway. And there's also What a Change a Thing. I was listening to that like literally a couple of days ago. It's actually, there's a lot of good songs on Kylie Minogue has. She's obviously not as popular as Michael Jackson is, but she's still quite high up, I'd say. In my personal list of music artists, I'd say Kylie Minogue is one of the best ones out there by far. I did talk about Belinda Carlisle like a minute ago, so some of her best ones is Circle in the Sand. That's one of the best ones she's got by far. It's like Circle in the Sand, round and round. It's quite a good song, that one. Another one I like from Belinda Carlisle is Runaway Horses. Whoa, runaway horses. Yeah, that one. Believe it or not, I've come across a couple of people who think that's just an okay song, but that's just their personal taste, but I like that song. The thing with that song is that it starts off quiet in the verses, and then when you get to the chorus, it's like much louder, so it's a bit hard to like keep the volume at the same height, we'll just say. Because sometimes in the verses I have to put the sound up, and then when it gets to the chorus I have to put the sound down. So that's the only thing with that song, but it's not as good as Circle in the Sand by far. Another good song from Belinda Carlisle is I Get Weak. Yeah, that song. That one's quite a good song as well, I think. The thing with most singer artists, they have about 5 good songs, and that's it. Because there's another band I quite like called a-ha, and it's where they've got a few songs I like from them, like Take On Me. It's where there's a music video to that's official, and it's where that got 1 billion views, so I thought, oh, well done, that's actually quite a good song, so, you know, it's definitely not overrated by a long shot. So, I'll be honest, the other a-ha songs are definitely not as good as Take On Me by far. I remember hearing a remixed version of Take On Me, that's done by the same guy, obviously, and it's where he was like saying, Take On Me, in a whisper way. It sounded really funny. It's just like, oh my word. Oh yeah, I remember there was this song, and it's by a band called The Cardigans, and it's called Love Fool, and it's quite a good song. Right, and it's where the very first time I actually heard it was back in like 1997, I think, and it was on a Cartoon Network series called Johnny Bravo, and it's where basically for some reason you can't seem to find this anywhere online, right? And so basically in the adverts, it's where Johnny Bravo like travels through this tunnel and he climbs up out of the hole, and there's like all these spear girls who are very angry at him and like pointing their javelins at him, and it's actually quite funny, right? And in the background they were playing Love Fool in the background, and I was like thinking, oh, okay. And that's when I first heard the song, so I thought, oh, what is that song? It's actually quite good, right? And then like not long after I actually came across it on the radio. So I thought, oh, it's actually quite a good song. I remember first hearing that on the Johnny Bravo adverts. And on the topic of Johnny Bravo, there was this advert I saw, right? And it's still online on YouTube, actually. And there was this advert where they were advertising Johnny Bravo characters as toys. And it's where there was like this 10-year-old boy that had sunglasses on. And it's like, he's basically supposed to be Johnny Bravo in reality. It's actually quite funny. And apparently that's a very rare advert back in 1997 or something. And it's where that's a different advert to the Love Fool one with Johnny Bravo, but you know. And it's where I was actually surprised that little boys like Johnny Bravo to the point that they'd actually pretend to be him in an advert. It's actually quite funny. It's like, oh wow. I also remember back in Resident Evil 1 with a character called Albert Wesker, and it's where he looks like Johnny Bravo because he has blonde hair and sunglasses on like him. And he even has a black shirt like him as well. I was like, oh my word, it's evil Johnny Bravo! Another song I like from the Cardigans is My Favourite Game. That's quite a good song as well. People have been saying that that exact song was used in a Gran Turismo game. I'm guessing that Gran Turismo had a collaboration with the Cardigans, because otherwise how can that song exist in the video game? That's the case even nowadays. Like, if you want to use an official song, you have to purchase a license first and make an agreement with them. Then they'll say, yeah, you can use it as long as you pay your sort of thing. That's usually what happens anyway. So it's like, oh, I was surprised that the Cardigans let the songs out to other people. I didn't actually know that. Okay, sure. Oh, but then again, they did do the same thing with Johnny Bravo, so yes, I did know. So, oh well. Oh yeah, there's another popular band that I've listened to before called Spice Girls. And it's where they made quite a lot of good songs. And what's even better about this band is that even though there were a few breakups, it's where some of the members became solo singers, like Jerry Halliwell and Emma Bunton, and Mel C as well. It's where, even though they were on their own at some point, they were still very good singers on their own. Some songs, which were done by solo singers, are loads better than the Spice Girls songs when they were like one band. So I thought, oh yeah. I remember there was this really good song from Spice Girls called Stop Right Now, Thank You Very Much, I Need Some Time for the Human Touch. Yeah, that song. I'm not going to sing the whole thing because it's not really fair to sing the whole song then, you know. Another good song they have is Wannabe. I think that's the first song I've ever come across. I remember seeing that on Channel 5 ages ago. So I thought, oh wow. I believe that's a 1996 song, so I was definitely a lot younger back in 1996 compared to now. Man, that definitely does bring back memories. And it's where another good song they got is Say You'll Be There. That's quite a good one. I remember watching the music video to that one, and that was so funny because there was like this guy in it, and it's weird. It's like strapped onto the top of this car, and I burst out laughing like, oh my word. It's like they made a lot of the Spice Girls were the evil ones, not him. Another good song I like from the Spice Girls is Goodbye My Friend. That one's quite a good one. I heard that that song was made because Jerry Halliwell was gonna leave the company. Well, not company, but like the band at some point. So I think that might be why. I don't know the full story because I've been hearing news like more than 20 years back that there were a few breakups. And at one point it was Posh Spice, you know, Victoria Beckham, and Mel C, also known as Sporty Spice. It's a good job to give them nicknames because it's easy to remember who they are. Because it's where the thing with Spice Girls that two of them had Melanie as their name, so it's a good job they did come up with nicknames because then you can differentiate the two. It's like what you call giving them individual characteristics. But anyway, I'm a little bit sad that there were a few breakups between the different girls because it's like, you know, it disrupts a lot of things. It actually gives off a very bad atmosphere. But the thing is though, is that I still like their solo songs quite a lot. There was a very good Emma Bunton song, and it's called Maybe I'm in Love. I like that one quite a lot. That's actually a very good song. I remember hearing that on the radio not that long ago. It was about 2007 or something. I can't remember when it was released, but I heard it on the radio quite recently, and I'm thinking, you know, I actually like this song. I remember this song. And so there's a very good Mel C song called Horizon. That's a very good song. I remember ages ago I used to make this YouTube video on Blender, and I was singing that in the background. I'll be honest, I did not sing it very well because this was back in 2017, I think. Yeah, but you know. The Horizon song is definitely a very good song by Mel C. So well done, Mel C. Well done, Emma Bunton, for singing the Maybe song, because that must have took a lot of effort trying to make songs after through leaving the company / the bands behind. Because the thing is, what do you think is more hardworking? Making a song and singing it all on your own with harmonics, or making a song with like 4 other people and you all divide the work up? What do you think is more hardworking? Because I think it's the solo singing that's harder, don't you think? You know. Another good song they've got is Holler. That's quite a good song. I checked out the music video to that not that long ago, and I noticed something. it's where Jerry Halliwell's not actually in that one, so I think that was back when Jerry Halliwell left the company. So I thought, oh no, it's so different without her being there. I was like, it's still a good song, but it's like, it just feels empty when one of them's not there. There's this Jerry Halliwell song called It's Raining Men, and I noticed, oh, this is actually a cover of the Weather Girls, because the Weather Girls made a 1980s song called It's Raining Men, and it's where in Jerry Halliwell's version the instruments are different, and obviously it's just Jerry Halliwell singing it, whereas with the Weather Girls version there was 2 singers for that one. And it's where I remember people making parodies of that song, and there was this one Let's Player saying it's raining snakes, and it's because there was this Resident Evil game he was playing, and there was like these snakes that kept falling down from the sky, literally. It's like, what's going on there? And then there was someone else who made a parody of that song and said, it's raining pants. I don't know why they made it be away with pants instead, even though it doesn't rhyme with men at all. I mean, well, after all, snakes doesn't rhyme with men either, so, you know. Come to think of it, there was this song that was made by the Bangles called Eternal Flame, and it's where so many people have been making covers of that one song. It's not even funny, because there's a Human Nature version, there's a Atomic Kitten version of that song as well. It's like, everyone loves that song. Anyway, I think that'll do for this video. I'm not quite happy with the way I've drawn my character, so this is subject to change. So yeah, I think I'll leave it there for now, so I'll see you all next time. Hello and welcome to episode number 6 of my How to Draw Anime Last series. I did draw my character's arm once while recording it, and this raw recording I made was about 5-6 minutes long, something like that, and it's where the arm looks so bad, so I thought, oh, I'm not keeping that as part of the video. So the only thing that remains from that really weirdly shaped arm you see here is the small screenshot I've decided to keep just for this video. What I was going to do was I was going to make the video longer and show how I did it wrong and then start over again, but I don't want to waste time rendering a video that's like 5 minutes longer just to show that I did something wrong. I've done that before because once I drew my avatar's face on the side when he's supposed to be like 7-8 years old, and it's where he looks so bad. He looks really like squishy and stuff, so that's why sometimes I don't like when I record something and it looks really bad, and then I just think, you know what, I'm gonna have to start over again. So that's one thing about artists' lives. Sometimes they just draw something that just doesn't look right at all, then they have to flip the page over, start again, rub the sketches out if they're doing it on paper, and then start over again. This is why I don't like paper very much. It's just like, someone did actually ask me, oh, you're gonna go back to drawing paper again, but I just like told them no, there's a lot of limitations to paper. And it's like, when I was a lot younger, I used to draw on paper, right, like buildings and such, right? And so whenever I drew like a house like in a slant or drew it too big that like you can't actually fit anything on it, or I drew something too small, you have to rub the whole thing out and start again. And then you leave a lot of smudge marks, so which is why I don't like doing paper drawings very much. So that's why I like digital drawings instead. Plus, when it comes to colouring things in on digital screens, obviously, it's where you just click the paint bucket tool, fill it in, that's it. When it's physical drawings and you need to colour it in, it takes a lot longer than that, and you have to make sure you fill in every little small gap of it in. You might even colour right over the lines. That's another problem with physical drawings as well. And if you run out of rubber, then that's it, you can't rub anything out. I remember there was this underrated band back in 2003-2004 sort of time, and they were called 3SL. And their manager was Lisa Scottley, who was part of the Steps band. And it's where this was back at the time when Lisa Scottley and the other 4 members of Steps disbanded. So they were like, nah, we're not together anymore, sort of thing. So she thought, oh, let's make a new band with my 3 brothers. So it's where there were 3 brothers. One of them's called Anthony, one of them's called Steve, One of them's called Andy. Yes, I know, Anthony and Andy sound very similar, so it's a bit hard to remember who's who. And so I remember there was this one song that they made called Take It Easy, Take It Easy. That song was actually quite good. The sad thing about 3SL is that that song only ever got to number 11, so it wasn't even in top 5. And then they made a second song, and that one only got to like 16. And it's where, because of that, they weren't making much cash, so I don't think they were very popular, but I liked them though. And so there's a few other people who said, oh, I missed these 3 guys. It's just like, yeah, I know. It's like, I think what might have happened was that back in 2004 odd, I think it's where that was the downtime for boy bands, because other types of music was becoming popular, like R&B and that sort of thing. So it is quite sad though, that they didn't actually get far. But that's just the way life is. Sometimes you just come across underrated people who just doesn't go far and they just deserve a second chance, but they just never get it. There is another band that some people might remember called Alien Ant Farm. They're an American rock band, and I remember their one cover that they did on Michael Jackson's Smooth Criminal. And it's where, I'll be honest, Alien Ant Farm's version definitely does not sound as good, right? And so in the chorus they say, and are you okay? Will you tell us that you're okay? Like that. And it's like, okay? Like that? It's just like, I know it's supposed to sound different, but it's like, it doesn't sound as good as MJ saying, and are you okay, Annie? And are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? That definitely sounds better rather than, are you okay? Like that. Like, you know, it sounds like they're like messing about rather than actually taking it seriously. But, you know, I heard that Alien Ant Farm took part in some other films as well, so they're not just a rock band, they also took part in live action films as well. I think there was one called American Pie or something, so I've not tuned into their history as of late, especially since 2023, but the song cover that they did was in 2001, so I am talking about something that happened 22 years back. So yeah. Another thing with Alien Ant Farm is that they're not bad, they just don't sound as good as MJ, right? And it's where Alien Ant Farm is about 6 out of 10, 5 or 6 out of 10, whereas MJ is like 10 out of 10 when it comes to Smooth Criminal especially, but you know. Now here's a band who's actually quite good, and I'm sure a lot of people will have heard about them, and there's a good band called The Cause, and it's an Irish band. They're a family of a band as well, and so they've got loads of good songs. I'm not surprised why they actually got pretty far in life. They've got loads of them. Like one of their very good ones is I listen to the radio. Yeah, that song's pretty good. It's one of my favourite ones. There's another very good song they've got called Breathless, and there's another good song that they've got called What Can I Do to Make You Love Me? That's one of their best ones. I swear I've come across that song in a Lloyd's Bank advert with a horse galloping in the green fields. I'm very sure I've seen that advert before where they have that song in the background, so I'm not surprised why why it's actually there. It's actually quite a good song, that one. It's a nice and serene song where it's like, no more fighting, no more aching. It's quite a good song. It's like, well done, Cause. You made some of the best music ever. I'll be honest, they still haven't made as many good songs as someone like Michael Jackson or Kylie Minogue, but Cause have got at least 10 good songs. I'm trying to remember which other good songs they've got as well. Oh yeah, there's also I have run away with you. That's quite a good song as well. So it's like, oh wow, that's another very good song. You have to watch out when listening to these kinds of songs, because sometimes some of the lyrics tend to be quite not safe for work. So that's why I'm trying to sing just the safe for work sides of things, because through YouTube, which I don't mind this all that much, and it's where the thing with YouTube is that you have to watch out for what you say. If you say something very not safe for work, you can actually get a guideline strike for it, so you know. To be honest, back when I was Let's Playing Streets Rage 4, I did say one somewhat not safe for work thing about Blaze saying, oh, if you make it Blaze kick upwards like that, you can see right upper skirt, which is actually still true, and I still have that commentary on that exact one video. So you have to be careful. I was actually kind of lucky that I didn't actually get a guideline strike. I only said that because it was actually true. Sega and their co-partners did actually put that in. So, you know. I think with the Blaze kicking upwards thing, I think that's because it's still not classed as 18 plus, that's more like 13 plus sort of material. I think that's why I was allowed to get away with that. So with saying, oh no, you can see what upper Blaze's skirt, it's like, oh my word, sort of thing. So yeah. Anyway, back on point, right? The thing with Cars is that some of their lyrics tend to be quite dirty-minded, so you have to be a bit careful. Because in the Runaway song, it is a good song, but there's one verse in it that sounds way too dirty-minded. So, you know, just be careful when listening to music that you've never listened to before. Because sometimes some music bands tend to say some very, very dirty-minded things we'll have to say. So just be careful. Anyway. Another song I like from the Cars is So Young. We are so young now, we are so young now. That song's quite good. So yeah, it's a little bit cleaner of a song than Runaway with that one verse. Yeah. Basically, Cars can really sing. They are very good. Just be a bit careful because some of their songs are not exactly something 7-year-olds will be listening to, so just be careful. There is a 1981 band that most people will remember called Spandau Ballet. They're actually pretty good, them. Two of their most well-known songs is You Are Gold, Gold, Always Believe in Your Soul. Yeah, that song. And the other song is True. And it's where there was quite a few covers of the You Are Gold Gold, because there's one that has to do with washing up liquid, and it says You Are Bold, Bold. And it's like, oh my word. Is it the same singer? I'm not sure. It sounds like them, but I don't think so. I think they just got permission to just kind of make a parody, but you know. So yeah. There is another song that's quite underrated, and it's from Spandau Ballet, and it's called Only When You Leave. It's quite an underrated song, and it's where I let someone listen to it the other day. I was saying, what do you think of this song? It's from Spandau Ballet. And they say, oh, it's not even good at all. The other songs, True and Gold, are way better. And that was just their opinion. I don't think Only When You Leave is that bad of a song. I think it's about 6 or 7 out of 10. Whereas the other person was like saying Only When You Leave to them, in their opinion, they think that it's like 2 or 3 out of 10. It's like, oh, come on, it's quite good. It's not as good as their other songs, but I don't understand. Some people just have some very different opinions to me. I don't know what's going on. I think the person who said that just doesn't seem to value some underrated songs out there. I'm not sure. Another song Spandau Ballet has, which is quite good, is I'll Fly For You. That one's quite a good song. I've not heard that song for a little while, and it's where I remember hearing it, but I must have forgotten about it because of their other songs. And it's where I'll Fly For You is quite a good song. I think that's about 7 or an 8 out of 10. It's a little bit better than the Only When You Leave song. Only When You Leave is about 6 or 7 sort of thing. So it's like, it's not as good as some of their other songs, but I'll Fly For You is quite good. So yeah, there's that one as well. That one's quite a good song. At least with Spandau Ballet, they're not like, they only got to make 2 songs and that's it. It's just like, at least they didn't suffer the same fate as 3SL, so it's like, at least it didn't happen the same way. So Spandau Ballet is definitely a good band by far. Another good song Spandau Ballet has is Round and Round. It's quite a good song, and it sounds a bit like True. It's the same sort of style, so I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about Round and Round, it's quite good. I listened to it not that long ago, so that's how I know about it now. Sometimes it's just nice to just go back to the music that you used to listen to ages ago, and it's like, oh yeah, this song. It's like, oh yeah. Now, you'll notice that I've been putting a lot of blur filters, well, not that many blur filters, but it's where you'll see that there's skin shading and shine shading as well. Don't worry about that. It's not very hard to learn. All you really have to do is just make a movie clip and just say, oh, I want to put a hair blur here or a skin blur here. You do have to go inside and outside of them, and it's where it does take a little bit of learning, but it's not that advanced. So you just have to just follow it carefully. I am going to showcase more of that later on, because I'm going to need some blur filters for my character's legs later on, because I am going to draw her legs in, obviously, because this is part of a walk cycle that I'm going to be making. So when it gets to episode number 7, I'll probably draw more of a dress in, the fluffy part of a dress. So yeah, I think I'll leave it to this point, because I don't want to make the video too long. The renders for these types of art videos tend to take over an hour nowadays, I don't know why. So I think my graphics card might be dying a little bit, so I think I might need to go get a new graphics card at some point. So I think I'll leave it here for now, so yeah, thanks for watching. Hello and welcome to episode number 7 of my How to Draw Anime Last series. In this episode, I'm going to draw more of my character's dress in, and yes, I'm going to include the orange feathers since I've done that once before. So yeah, this might take a while to get through because the orange feathers are quite detailed. There's going to be a lot of stroke lines involved with my character's orange feathers on her dress, so that's going to take a while. And then there's shading I need to put on top of the orange feathers as well, so this might take a while. By the way, I am fully aware that I now have way over 2,000 subscribers now, so all I can say is thank you very much. I will be honest, I did start this exact channel back in 2013. I believe it was around June sort of time, because it was definitely summertime when I set this channel up anyway. And it did take me nearly 11 years to get to this point. So I'm like thinking, wow, that took ages. To be honest, there's a cool guy, he's called Mr. Beast, right? And he did make a video saying that you are supposed to have fun while making videos, because if you go around getting stressed out that you're not getting famous and you're not having fun, you're gonna get burned out very quickly. I noticed that even when I first started in 2013. I originally was trying to make my channel just to like comment and tick like and stuff and things like that, so hence why back in 2013 when I uploaded the digger animation, which I'll put at the end of the video by the way, I swear I was not expecting myself to make YouTube videos all the way to 2024. So I thought, oh wow. Also, you'll notice that back in 2013 I only uploaded one video in 2013, then I didn't do anything for ages. Then in 2015 onwards I started to actually make videos after that. So a lot of people are like saying, oh, you've done a lot of Let's Play videos. Yes, I did, but that was mainly because they were like filler content sort type things, because if I did not do any Let's Play videos and just uploaded flash animations, you'd only see that 1 or 2 videos from me each year, so that's why. So yeah. Now, other people did say that the biggest problem with YouTube is that you have to be very, very lucky in order to get famous and such and have a lot of subscribers and have a lot of likes and things like that. I've noticed that within like the first 5 years of my channel, I didn't really get a lot, because back in 2018 I had this many subscribers, so I thought, okay, that's a start, but I didn't really take YouTube that seriously, that's the thing, because that's why back in the first 5 years I didn't really upload much, because I mainly used my account just to comment on other people's videos. So yeah. Once I was on Reddit, and it's where there were these people saying, oh, I can't believe I'm struggling so much to get 1,000 subscribers, that type of thing, which I can totally understand that. It's not easy getting to 1,000 subscribers, right? And I did offer some free advice, obviously, and it's where I said to them, oh, why don't you work in your SEO, search engine optimization, so come up with really good titles, come up with really good descriptions and really good tags, because you have to think of the things that people are going to be searching for. So that's one big thing. I did say this to people offline, so that's why I decided to share that tip. But the thing is that most people would have heard of SEO, search engine optimization. I nearly said that wrong for a second. But yeah, I did get a reply of someone on Reddit saying, oh well, SEO does help, but not that much. So I could see where they're getting at. And people did say that the problem with SEO is that you have to wait months for it to activate, because the thing with YouTube is that it goes through, like, I believe it's about 200 search engines to reindex your videos, so it'll actually test how reliable they are, because there's such thing called algorithm, and that's the thing that pushes your videos out. Someone mentioned that if a visitor watches at least 1 minute of one of your long form videos, it motivates the algorithm to push it out on the side more, so it starts putting it in the suggested. Because with me, it's where some of my videos, for instance the Sonic Frontiers one, yes, I've got like 31 episodes of that out now, so I'm like thinking, oh wow. And it's where whenever people watch more than 1 minute of one of those videos, for instance, the algorithm pushes it out more for some reason. I'm just like, oh, okay then. And it starts sticking it on the side for other people to see. So it's like, because sometimes when I check my analytics, it says, oh, you got, we'll just say 3 views on this Sonic video. This is from the suggested on the right hand side. So another 3 people actually clicked on it from seeing it on the right hand side and saw the custom thumbnails that I put together. So yeah, so I thought, oh wow. For custom thumbnails, one website I usually use is pixlr.com. It's quite good, but one of the biggest problems is that obviously since it's free, you can only save 3 images on your hard drive, assuming that you're using a PC, like I do, and that's it. That's all you can do for each day. So what you should do is use your 3 chances up and save 3 images, then come back the next day and then do another 3 more in advance. Because when it comes to my custom thumbnails, like this one here, what I do is that I change the number on the top right and get like the next 2 done in advance, so that I'm not like wasting my opportunities, you know, my chances on pixlr.com. Because after you use 3 up, it literally says, snap, you used all 3 up, you're gonna have to pay $1 a month or something like that. It's just like, you know, so it's like, well, Pixlr needs to make money somehow, don't they? Another very good website I've used, but not super loads, is this website called Adobe Express. I don't fully understand it because I've only made like 2 or 3 thumbnails, but the best thing about this website is you can make as many as you need to, and it does not limit you, unlike pixlr.com. So that's a big plus right there. From my personal experience of Adobe Express, there is one teeny tiny problem, and it's that once I zoomed out a lot and I forgot the shortcuts to zoom back in. Now you'd think it'd be like Control Plus, but it's not, it's something entirely different. I think it's like Control Shift Plus in order to zoom in, and then it finally worked, and I had to find that out through a tutorial from someone else. So I thought, oh no, because I had it really zoomed out for ages and I couldn't finish my custom thumbnail that I was making. So yeah, just be careful when using Adobe Express, because I've not got a lot of experience in it, like I mentioned. So just be careful with the controls, because some of it's different compared to other websites. Oh, and that's another thing, right, which is very good news, is that I am in the middle of making a 2000 subscriber special video, but I don't know how long it's gonna be, because I've done some recordings with 2 relatives of mine called Future and Ashes. I'll put their link in the description, and it's where they were helping me by being my camera team to help me make a video that's for the 2000 subscriber special. And it's where afterwards I am using something called Movie Studio Vegas 21. yes, there's lots of different versions of Movie Studio, because the first one I used was called Movie Studio 14. The second one I used is called Movie Studio 17, which I'm using that a lot, even nowadays. And so there's a third one, which I'm using a trial version called Movie Studio 21 Vegas. And that version is the one that lets you be able to edit in characters from games and stuff and put it in a live scene, that sort of thing. Someone else made a tutorial how to insert a Korok from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild into a live scene, but I'm not going to use that exact character so in the 2000 subscriber special, so that's not what it's going to be. But you know, so I'm going to try to keep it as a surprise for what's coming up for the 2000 subscriber special. Someone offline who subscribed to me did ask me, oh, can you like make a video on how you edit your videos? I was thinking about doing that with Movie Studio 14, 17 and 21, but the thing with the trial version of 21 I'm using is that I've only got like 28 days left. I think the way the counter works is that if you use it even just a few minutes on each day, it counts as one day. Because I think if I miss one day out, so let's say I don't use it for a whole day, I think it doesn't actually decrease, so I'll have to showcase it in a way that I'll still have access to MS21 Vegas, where I'll showcase how the masking thing works, because for some reason the masking layer, which you need to use to be able to edit characters from games and such and put it in a live scene, you need Movie Studio 21 to do that. You can't do that very easily in the versions before it, that's the problem. So yeah. One of the most funniest things about Vegas Pro 21 is that on the website it shows that you can actually animate some thunder and lightning, which is realistic, and make it look like you're throwing thunder out of your fingertips and things like that. And I think you can do the same thing with ice and fire and such, so you can make it look like you're like a wizard. So I was like, oh wow. And there's a such thing called smart masking, where you can get the computer to do it for you. Hold on, I'm going to show how I fix this fill problem. Basically, there is a gap I made here, and I have to fix it and redraw that part, then use the fill bucket tool to fix the problem. This happens quite often with me, so you'll just have to bear with me. There's the gap. Close this and the orange fill works. Because, you know, you have to use your brain to win the game. That's what someone else said anyway. Use your brain to win the game! Before we end off the video, I just realised that my character's belt doesn't actually have any shading, and it kind of doesn't make sense how the orange feathers has shading, and her yellow part of her dress has shading as well, but yet the belt doesn't, so I'm gonna fix that real quick. In the colour options, just change the LUM and lower it by 40, and then you'll make it darker. It's quite easy to do, don't worry. I know it's at ×4 speed, but there you go. That looks good. Right, I'm gonna get rid of those two little squares there and then call it a break. Hello and welcome to episode number 8. It's been a while. In this episode, I'm going to do something quite different. I'm actually going to showcase a few art techniques. This first technique I'm showcasing has two names. It's called line of action, and it's also called dynamism. This technique is made by another artist called Encio. I'll put a link to his page in my description. I can also credit the artist Encio in my conversation right now, so there's that as well. The problem with me is I did not show any kind of technique like this in earlier episodes. For instance, in episode 1 of this, I didn't use the circle and plus face technique, which a lot of high level artists use, and I didn't use that. I went straight in and drew my character's face line in, then the hair and eyes and such, when other artists would do it, the rough version first. It's mainly because I've been making art since the 1990s, so since I've been doing art for that long, that's why I didn't do it the rough way first. Right, okay, here's another technique by someone called QT Patrol. I'm going to test how good this is. QT Patrol says you can use cube boxes to map out where the character's hips and torso goes before drawing out those body parts. Also, you can use the box method to map out where the shoulders go as well. The problem with this method is Cube Patrol showcases techniques on female characters, not male characters. Meaning I don't know if this would work on my male characters like N, Hiroshi or Taji. Don't worry about this looking rough because I have done this before with these N and Megumi images I made in the past. A friend of mine offline said the rough version still looks very good, and that rough version took me about 45 odd minutes, something like that anyway. The colour version on the left definitely took me at least 3 hours, so yeah, that took me a while to draw up. Oh yeah, watch out. I just realised my character's legs are crossed the wrong way. Whoopsie! Now for the circle and cross technique, this existed back in school library books I read back in the 1990s. Now, people are probably going to be asking me, how did you get into making art videos? Back in 2010 I came across MacLeod. He's very good at physical drawing. Mark got me into this, but I do digital animations instead. So yeah, I'm going to delete the boxes and the cross face drafts off, because I've already done the coloured version of Yue already. I just need to complete her legs. Okay, so there's a third technique I can showcase, and credit goes to some normal artist. He's quite famous, but not as famous as MacLeod. Some normal artist says we can mirror flip our characters round and detect errors. Oh my word, her face looks kind of strange. Believe it or not, I was expecting Yue to look way worse than this. Thing is though, Yue's hair is asymmetrical, so of course her hair is going to look a tiny bit strange on this side. The best thing about the mirror flip technique is this can apply to male characters as well, whereas the box method I mentioned earlier seems to work for girl torsos on hips. That's it. So I do apologise QT Patrol, but I think NCO's line of action technique is better, I think. Right, let's change our colour. I personally think having different colours actually helps, because I did explain this in an old tutorial from a few years back, and it's where, yeah, I'm going to draw this in blocks by the way, and it's where colour coding helps, because then when you have lines cross each other and you just double click it, you'll be double clicking what's the same colour, so that's actually quite helpful. It's different for each program. Art program anyway, but if this is Flash, people will probably be asking me why you're drawing in Flash when it's supposed to be animation based, which is pretty obvious. I'm actually gonna animate this character in future episodes. Yes, I'm actually gonna do that. So yeah, I think drawing in blocks is a brilliant idea. Don't worry about how it looks at the moment. I can always make it look better afterwards. Trust me, this leg does not look very good right now, but it'll look better. Let's have a look. This is at times 4 speed, so what you're hearing is actually times 1 speed in speech. So yeah, I'm probably going to change that knee, because you wouldn't have a knee facing forwards, whereas the shoe is facing diagonally left. So yeah, that knee's totally going to change. Right, I'm going to draw my character's boot buckle in. It's quite detailed though. I've actually drawn this with one buckle in before, well, the bottom of the shoes before, because of this picture here that I made. So yeah. And there's going to be a few circles I need to put on here as well. No, this is totally not going to look good at first obviously. So I think drawing it rough is one of the best strategies. I think I've been doing it that way even off screen anyway, because then you can detect errors. I will say that when some normal artist said, oh, flip your image round, I tested it out just like a few minutes ago, and it's like, it actually does help, but I don't think it would actually help on every single picture ever, especially if it's like non-characters like mountains or something. So yeah. Alright, let's have a look. Yeah, I'm going to be moving these stroke lines around a lot. Like left, right sort of thing. Because I have to look at it afterwards, think, does this look right? If not, change it. Right. I will say that the line of action thing by NCO has definitely been helpful. Because look how close the boot is to that. The other day, I was talking to people offline about TikTok videos. I know some people are like have cringy eyes whenever they hear the word TikTok, right? Yeah, I don't think TikTok's that good anyway, and it's where people have been asking me, why don't you make a TikTok account? Right, a lot of people have been asking me this. The reason why I don't use TikTok is because you can only do it in shorts format, so it's like mobile phone sort of screen, whereas here it's like widescreen, and I like making widescreen based videos, and plus you can make it a heck of a lot longer than 3 minutes anyway. So that's reason number one. And it's where reason number two is that there's going to be controls on that website that's going to be different to YouTube's anyway. So that's why. The other day I came across this so-called artist on TikTok, and they were like saying, oh, how to draw art, and guess what they did? They went around tracing right over someone else's work anyway. It's like, that's not how artwork works. Well, what I mean by that is like, that's not how you learn how to draw at all. That's like not very good advice at all. And it's where other people agree, by the way, but it's where the problem is that people offline are like saying, no, it's okay to trace. So it's like, I don't understand why. The only time it's okay to trace is if you're an absolute beginner and you're not going to pass it off as your own online, that kind of thing, or even offline, or you just admit to saying, okay, this is a tracing thing, I'm going to throw this away, I'm going to do it without tracing. That's fine, but just don't be like that one TikToker and just go around making videos where you just trace something. I saw someone else do this with a Nightick logo, saying, oh, this is how you draw, and this was on YouTube like ages ago. It was like back in 2008, I think. Yes, I've been living that long, so yeah, it's just like, just please don't trace unless you're a beginner. After about 5 years, you totally won't need to trace. I mean, big name artists like MacLeod and some normal artists would never ever trace ever. So yeah, that's right. I think for episode 8, which is this one, I don't think I'm going to get both legs done. So I think what I'm going to do is do more of this the rough way, and then colour the upper half of my character's legs and then finish it off that way. It's because once I made this video, it was on a male character of mine, and it's where it was like 57 minutes long and it only got this many views, and I'm like thinking, yeah, that's fair. And then suddenly when my videos are shorter, suddenly it gets way more views, so I thought, right, I'm not making a 57-minute art video anymore. As far as I know. Besides, people have said this, right? Now, obviously, I've not been able to monetize my channel yet, despite I have over 2,000 subscribers now, and it's where the biggest problem with making long videos is that people who are able to monetize their channels usually put like 5 or 6 ads in like an hour-long video, whereas if you make a video that's like 10 minutes long, you can only fit like 1 advert in. So, you know. So it's like, and you know, ads tend to get in the way. Don't you just hate those unskippable ads like the Snickers advert where it's like 20 seconds long? Yeah, I remember having to have to watch the same Snickers advert on YouTube 12 times in a row. Yes, I counted. And it was like an unskippable Snickers ad. It was the same one over and over and over again. I think I was watching someone else's playlist on a game. I can't remember what it was, but it was definitely the Snickers advert. You know, the one where there's a lady in the room and then they turn into a man at the end after eating a Snickers bar. It's that one. Yeah, definitely be careful of the free transform tool. Yeah, I don't think the box method is that helpful, honestly. Well, it's probably not for me, but it's probably for other people. It's where, yeah, that Snickers advert is just well annoying. Yeah, I knew I'd end up changing that knee up. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to make the knee face forwards and yet the shoe is like diagonally left. So yeah, I'm going to move that knee up. I'm probably going to change this knee a little bit more because there's going to be a little bit of shading on that. Right. Oh, I put it in the wrong colour. There we go. Yeah, that definitely looks a bit better. Now you're probably thinking, why are you making it a red stroke line so it won't get in the way of the green stroke lines? It's a little bit confusing because there's a thick green line, which is the line of action. That's definitely been helpful. I know I've said that a bunch of times, but you know. Like I mentioned earlier, definitely be careful of the free transform tool, because you can get mixed up with rotating and skewing. Sometimes I use rotate and sometimes I use skewing. So yeah, just be careful because you might do unintended things by accident, costing time. Now, don't worry about this leg. This leg's going to look really bad at first, but I'm going to fix it up afterwards. So yeah, I'm going to deliberately make this look a tiny bit fat at first, but I'll fix it afterwards. So you'll see in a few seconds that that leg will definitely look better. Right, yeah, it already looks a little bit better. A tiny bit anyway. Right, oh yeah, that's another thing, right? There's still a few art techniques that are from other people I've still not tested out yet, so I don't know if I want to do that in episode 9 or not. I might do it, I might not, but yeah. Oh yeah, make sure that you save your work, because just in case there's like power cut. Once one of my backups actually got corrupted, but fortunately I had a backup from like a few days back, but I only lost about 1 hour's worth of work, so drawing work anyway. But yeah, it was basically on one of my other characters called Megumi from one of my other animations anyway, so you know. Yeah, I'm going to color code this and turn this purple so that I can double click it more easily. Yeah, just be careful when drawing boots, because sometimes you can draw one that looks too big compared to the other. So yeah, just be careful of that. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just scrolling up and down to make sure that it actually looks alright. Yeah, I think I'll go do a little bit of colouring. Oh yeah, just be careful of layers. I know layers exist in, what's it called? Clip Studio 16. I've not used it, but I've seen other people use it. I can see why people love this, and yes, they use layers as well, so just be careful. I usually make the stroke lines black when I'm actually done with them. So yeah. Yeah. Hello and welcome to episode number 9. In this video I'm going to make a few fixes to my character. I've just realised that my character's lips don't look very detailed. So I thought, yeah, I think I better try and make these lips look a bit nicer. Now the thing is though that this character will have movement, but you won't be seeing her lips very close up, but I just thought, I may as well showcase how to make some better looking lips, yeah. These lips, I could have kept it the way it is, but it wouldn't look that great. So that's the thing. Once someone said this about 1980s anime characters, and they were like saying the thing with 1980 characters is they tend to have lips or noses that's like as thin as a needle, and that's kind of true actually. But yeah, yeah, I'm going to be zooming out and zooming in a few times in this video because I need to make sure it looks okay. Right, okay, so I'm going to put like a little squiggle here, but don't worry about the way it looks. This is part of how to make it look nicer. I'm actually going to turn it into a movie clip and put like a nice graphical filter, like a blur filter. I've done this before with skin shading and just make it look nicer. So yeah. That looks okay to me. Right, yeah. There we go. Now we're going to change it into a symbol. Now sometimes it's better to put the symbol on a different layer. Yeah. It'll look a bit strange at first, but once you fill what's behind it, it does look a lot nicer. Yeah, that definitely looks nicer now. Yeah, that definitely looks nicer. I've just realised that my layers are a little bit messy, so I should actually fix it. Another fix I need to do in this video is that I've not actually drawn my character's hair in, not all of it. Because in reality you would see part of people's hair if it's long enough, but yeah, so basically I need to actually draw some more hair in, because you would be able to see some hair that's behind my character's arm and her back. So yeah, but only to some extent like this, so yeah. Also I have to mind up for the colour, because I have to make sure that this character's colour actually makes sense. Yeah, sometimes I use this technique on the right hand side called erase lines. So that's very helpful if you just want to just erase this one tiny bit of a stroke line and that's it. So I did do it once, but there you go. I might do it a second time. Yeah, I need to make sure I'm in the right layers. Oh yeah, I use something called eyedropper tool. You just press I, just select the colour that you want and then just highlight it onto the colour that you want to change it. It's much easier and faster to do it that way. Yeah, definitely make sure you know the shortcuts to any art program. That definitely helps, because that makes getting through animations or just drawing 2D art a lot quicker, if that makes sense. That was the case with something I used before called Blender 3D. There's a million 3D shortcuts. I can't remember what all of them are, but it's like extrude, rotate, and all that sort of thing. And it's just like, oh, I've not used Blender for so long. Oh no, that didn't look right. I know why. It's because the arm's on a different layer. That's why it wasn't working. Yeah, sometimes hiding layers is actually a brilliant idea. So I had to go and copy and paste part of her arm from a different layer. Then it worked afterwards. So yeah, just mind up for that. Because I had to help someone out doing that back at university because their fill wasn't working on their own character. Right, I realised off screen I need to fix you as hair bead. If the fill bucket doesn't work, simply go to the right, select the circular object, then select close large gaps, and then you're done. Right, I need to delete these lines off because we don't really need a lot of them. Let's change that to black. Right. Okay, one mistake I made in earlier versions of this, but easy to fix. I drew Yua's forearm too short, however her upper half of her arm looks fine. I did this mistake back in the Nagisa art series I did over a year back. I'll put this as a card on the top right. I put a lot of effort in that one as well, so please check it out. Anyway, right, this might not take that long, but it is back to ×4 speed, so right, that looks okay. That's another thing, you have to change the graphic filter. So we need to unhide it again, go inside here, redraw this little part. Shouldn't take that long, judging it's that ×4 speed. Right, yeah, that looks okay to me. Yeah, make sure there's not like a tiny gap, otherwise I won't do it. Right, let's have a look. Yeah, that looks so much better now. Okay, so I'm going to click on blocks layer and lock the line of action layer so that doesn't get in the way. Right, okay. I kind of ran out of time in the previous episode, so we're actually gonna do this boot here. Now don't worry too much if it doesn't look too good, because I can just alter it on the way. Fun fact, this part of the boot is called the arch. Yes, there's terminology for each boot part, so yeah. And that's obviously the heel that I'm drawing up right now. Alright, yeah, this definitely is going to take some fixing. Yeah, I'm going to curve that a little bit. Yeah, that boot, her foot's going to look really small, so I'm definitely going to make it look a bit better than this. Right, let me look to the left. Yeah, we're going to need to alter it at least a little bit. Right. Yeah, that looks like her shin isn't going to be able to fit in that boot very easily, so I'm going to have to move it slightly more to the left. I will say that that line of action that I learned from NCO is actually really good. It's still helping even now, even just a little bit. Right, there. Right, we're probably going to smallen these circles down a little bit, you know, the holes, because when something's more further away you need to make it look smaller. One of the first things I ever drew when I was a little boy was drawing up trees, and obviously the further away something is, the smaller you have to draw it, which is quite obvious. So yeah, so naturally that skill will have to apply now. So yeah, you know, you'll see me zooming in and out a little bit because I'm trying to make sure that the back boot doesn't look too big because it needs to be further away, hence making it look a little bit smaller. Right, okay. Yeah, this might take... Oh no, I keep making mistakes. Right, okay. We'll make a few more holes, make it a little bit smaller. Yeah, sometimes it's a good idea to just rub out a little bit and then alter one side, then alter the other side, and then just fill the gap afterwards. Yeah, we're going to change that a little bit. We're going to make it a little bit smaller because it kind of doesn't make sense why some holes will be bigger than others. Right. Let's make this little part here. It kind of looks like a play symbol. This buckle that I'm making. It's quite funny actually because I did that with the other boot earlier on in the previous episode. So I'm probably going to have to alter it a little bit because this is still quite rough, this part. Yay. At least this won't take too long. Right. Now the thing is though is I am going to be showing how to make this frame by frame because I did say at the beginning of the art tutorial series somewhere that I was actually going to show how to animate her walking at a diagonal angle. It's because I made this and I made this a very long time ago. And it's where the thing is though is that my characters are always either walking or running to the right or the left, but they never run diagonally. It's very rare that they do. So that's why I thought, why not just make you walk diagonally so it's a little bit more dynamic and it's not what you usually see. So yeah. We have to do those little stroke lines off. I'm going to have to make that a little bit bigger because that does look a little bit too tight. Oh, by the way, thank you very much for watching my videos and clicking subscribe and such, because I've realised that I've got nearly 3,000 subscribers now. It's like, oh wow, I still have not finished the 2,000 subscriber special that I've been working on. So it's like, holy moly, thanks. I think this year might be the best subscribe count going up like ever. So yeah, thank you very much. I mean, there's been 1 month last year somewhere where I gained like 300 subscribers in one particular month, and I was like, holy moly, thanks. And now I got like 400 subscribers in the space of like 28 days or something. So I'm like thinking, holy moly. It's just like, wow, where are you all coming from? Maybe it's the SEO just kicking in. When I mean by SEO, I mean as in search engine optimization. So thank you very much. It does mean a lot to me. It's just like, oh thanks. I wonder how long it'll take for me to get to 5,000, because I made like this checklist of my subscriber milestones, and it seems like there's a big gap between 2,000 subscribers and 5,000 subscribers. So, but it's like I might be able to get to 5,000 subscribers very soon. So I don't know. Yeah, let's tie that up so that I can put the fill in properly. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that there's extra stroke lines here and there, so they're very close together, so just make sure that you delete them all, okay, before moving on. Right, we're going to make this play looking symbol. Yeah, there's one on the other boot as well, so yeah, I'm going to curve it a little bit so it looks nicer. Yeah, I'm going to color code this into green. I'm going to put like a little rubber looking thing on it. Alright, there's one on the other boot as well, but it's supposed to look slightly rubbery looking, so you know, yeah. The eraser rubber, the shortcut to that is E, so yeah. Right, that does look pretty good. I might need to alter it slightly afterwards, but oh yeah, I keep forgetting to draw this little segment here because it's on the other boot as well, so it kind of makes sense to make it look right on both boots rather than just one. Yeah, sometimes it's better to just redraw things, you know. If you go wrong, even just slightly, sometimes it's just better to just redraw it, and it's just quicker to do it that way. Hello and welcome to episode number 10. I'm probably going to complete my character's legs in this tutorial. So yeah, I'm going to start colouring this boot buckle in. So yeah. Yeah, because this leg is behind the front leg, I'm going to need to use dark colours on this one. Now I am using the eyedropper tool, which is the shortcut is I on the keyboard, because I stands for eyedropper, so that makes sense. So yeah. Right, oh yeah, that's right. Sometimes I need to use something called close small gaps, because sometimes the fill doesn't work correctly, so you have to toggle between closing small gaps and not closing small gaps. So yeah. Yeah. By the way, this is at times 4 speed, so don't worry, you won't see it at times 1 speed unless there's something I need to explain at times 1 speed. So yeah. Oh yeah, I need to darken this, so yeah. Sometimes it's a good idea to just change the loom on it and lower it by about 30, and the same thing for the orange. I might change it, it's still subject to change, but you can't see what's going on, so yeah. Yeah, don't forget to fill the holes in the buckle. Right, okay. Sometimes it's a good idea to use the pen tool, sometimes it's better to use the stroke lines and then bend it afterwards. Right, okay. That looks okay to me. I think that looks dark enough. Right, okay, we're gonna colour the back of her leg in. Sometimes it's better to do it this way. Sometimes, oh yeah, I just realised something. My character is in like different layers, and if it's on 2 different layers, you can't fill it in. So it's better to just highlight it, put it on the same layer, then it'll work afterwards. So yeah, yeah, just keep that in mind. I've done that a bunch of times. Other people I know have done this offline, and they were like, "Oh wow, you actually knew how to fix my problem." It's like, yeah, I said this in a different video ages ago. I'm probably gonna change that to a slightly lighter colour because it doesn't make sense why that bit would be darker than the rest. Right, I'm gonna change this knee. Obviously it doesn't look very good right now because it was rough back in the previous episode, so I am actually gonna change it. Right, let's neaten this one up. I'm probably gonna raise this up a bit because it does look a little bit too low of a knee. I mean, you wouldn't have your knee where your shin is, would you? So I'm probably gonna heighten it up. It does take a little bit of adjusting here and there, but there you go. Right. Fun fact, I was thinking about making something called tier list. This can apply to almost anything. Tier list can apply to food and drinks, organs in the body, what's best in an opinion, right? I was thinking about making one for music, like the best save room theme and such, so that kind of thing. Yeah, I knew I would need to adjust her knee upwards after checking her knee was too low, right on her shin. This is why I like digital drawings rather than physical drawings. No rubbing out and smudge marks. So yeah. Since I naturally make art videos, I think at some point, hopefully, I should do a tier list for best to worst art techniques. I'd definitely include ones like practice every day, flip a canvas, or art marathon. Still need to alter her knee to the left, but not by much. Yeah, if you want amazing art, you have to be willing to spend time fixing things. I remember back at university, I was drawing some simple art of an anime girl in a kimono and holding a paper fan, and one of my favourite friends was trying to record me drawing art, and I was literally at the beginning. I did say to him, "Hold on friend, this is gonna take a while to finish." And he said, "Yeah, the thing with art is the best pictures takes ages." So I was like, yeah. Yeah, this boot is gonna need like a complete overhaul because in the previous episode I did not concentrate on the front boot very much, whereas I concentrate on the back boot so much more, which is why the back boot's practically finished now. So yeah, this boot, a lot of it is going to change. So like I mentioned, it's going to take a complete overhaul, and yes, this boot is just not very good. I've not even curved it at all. I mean, look at that, it's just like lots of like simple lines and that's it. So don't worry, this is definitely going to look a lot better in about 2 minutes. At times 4 speed, of course. Yeah, that heel's going to have to change. I didn't even draw an arch in earlier on because at the bottom of real boots there's this thing called an arch. So I need to put that in as well, because it's not going to make sense how the back boot has an arch and the other one doesn't have an arch at all. And yes, the buckle's going to have to change a little bit as well. Some of it's going to have to move to the right a little bit, and also it's going to need to move up a bit as well, because it's not going to make sense how it's like inconsistent between the two boots unless it's asymmetrical boots, like a yellow boot and a brown boot, that kind of thing. It's like very few characters have it that way anyway. Oh yeah, this definitely looks nicer already. Sometimes you just have to just use your brain to actually make things look better. But yeah, and yes, it is true that the brain's more important than the heart and every other organ is. That's what a lot of people say anyway, but I do agree, because that's the thing that gets you to think and control all the other organs in the body anyway. So yeah. There's been a few artists that goes around saying, oh, don't use too many layers when making artwork. The thing with me is that sometimes I use a lot of layers and sometimes I don't use a lot of layers. For this one, which I made as part of my singing tricks animation, I did make like more than 15 layers, and it's because there's a lot of characters there and there's a lot of tables and chairs and so on, and there's that see-through glass there as well, so that's why. So yeah, I think if there's like more than 3 characters, you're gonna need a lot of layers for something like that. So yeah. Sometimes I like showing my videos to offline people, because then you can see their facial reactions when they see something, and it's like, oh wow, you made that? That's actually what they said to me, and it's like, yes. So it's like, and it's usually new offline friends that I make, so yeah, that's why. Oh yes, another aspect I'd love to add to my tier list if I ever make a tier list video is use references. It's because I still use references nowadays. I even use my old artwork as references because I don't want to get my character's hair wrong or the clothing wrong or something, so that's why. It's nice to look at your old artwork from like 5 or 6 years back, because you can be like, oh well, this is still pretty good for 6 years back type thing. So yeah, I think using references is a brilliant idea. So yeah, I drew like this mountain here, and I did have to look up other mountains and base it off those, so that's an example of me using references right there. So yes, one extra thing for the tier list I'd love to add to it is draw before you sleep. So you know, draw before bed type thing. I have tried this a few times before, but usually like 10 or 15 minutes before I sleep, and it's like, oh, I'll just draw this real quick, and then it's where I just go, oh okay, then that'll do, and then go to sleep. People said that that actually makes it easier to sleep, but I'm like thinking, but staring at a screen puts blue light in your eyes, and the more blue light that's in your eyes, the harder it is to sleep, because you have to get rid of blue light in order to be able to sleep properly. And also blue light actually puts headaches on you, so you don't want to have too much blue light in your eyes. So I don't think drawing before bed always helps type thing, so yeah. Let me change the stroke thickness. Problem with Adobe Flash is every time I load it up, it resets the stroke line thickness to 1.0, and I almost always use 0.1. Let me add a movie clip, and I'm gonna make a skin blur. Let's add a drop shadow on the bottom right filters box. I usually have it as 3 pixels on both X and Y. So yeah, we need to make sure we're in the correct layer as well. A long time ago, I remember using a graphics tablet. A relative let me borrow theirs for drawing, and I was told to be careful with the tablet, which obviously I was, right? I'm gonna be honest, I did not like using graphic tablets. I made some wiggly lines and such, so I stayed with mouse and keyboard for this. So much easier to control. I'll use the eyedropper tool to grab the brown colour and apply that to her tag. Ah yeah, I did a drawing of Yua earlier on, and I completely forgot to add a orange lining. I have not decided yet how many frames I'm gonna put in this walk cycle, but judging that it's gonna be walking quite slowly, I'm probably gonna make it between 20 and 30 frames, because whenever I make walk cycles, I tend to make them 24 frames. Now this boot here definitely doesn't look that good, so I'm probably gonna change it a little bit, because that boot doesn't look very curved. So I'm gonna add a few more curves to it, especially that heel part there. More about tier lists. One art technique I would add to it is learning different art styles. I usually stick to like one or two, right? There's one for the Digger series, which is based off Hey Arnold, and there's another one that I'm using right now, which is based on Kyoto animation, because that's the type I like to use. There's a very good thing and then there's a very bad thing about learning different art styles. The good thing is that it can help broaden your experiences, but the bad news is that you're basically back to level 1 when using a new art style. So yes, you'd have to mind out for learning a new art style of some kind. Right, let me check something. I need to lower the buckle a bit. Otherwise, it'll look strange how the back boot has a buckle that's in a different position to the other. So it's like one buckle's like higher than the other. So you have to make sure it's consistent. Another art technique I'd like to add to the tier list. Well, most people probably wouldn't count as an art technique, but it's more like advice type thing. And it's to ask for feedback. Now, whenever I make drawings, especially when it's not finished, I usually ask a couple of people if it looks okay or not, right? For instance, I made this drawing, which is rough, ages ago. Now, as you can see, Yua's red eye doesn't look very good, does it? Whereas the yellow eye actually looks very good. So I asked someone called Yumeko Moon, who does the voice of English Nagisa in my series, and I asked Yumeko Moon, does the yellow eye look better? And she said, yeah, that one definitely looks a lot more aesthetic and pleasing. So I stuck with that one. So technically Yua could have had red eyes at one point, but the red eye looks very robotic. And that's one example. Another example is another Yua drawing, where I thought Yua looked cross-eyed, but when I asked another voice acting friend called Shai Ren, who does Kyoka's voice in my animation series, she said Yua looked fine as she was, so I thought, oh okay then, so that's why. Fun fact, one of the things I love about Adobe Flash is whenever I get to colour something in, it's one of my favourite things to do because it makes the picture look more complete and such, so yeah. Episode 11 is going to be a very different episode to a lot of my other art tutorials, like the eye blink one that I've got right here, which I'll put as a card. A lot of people are actually quite watching that one, so thank you very much for watching that, but I'll put it as a card here just in case you've not seen it yet. If you really like my videos, hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. So yeah, thank you.